Sirius is one of the closest and the brightest stars in the sky, revered since ancient times in different parts of the world. The Ainu. Legends of the Ainu people, the oldest inhabitants of the Japanese islands, say that their ancestors came from the Sirius system. This explains why, at the dawn of mankind, the Ainu already had a sufficiently developed civilization and the knowledge that Sirius is a double star, with two suns that orbit around a common center of masses. The Dogon. And in Central Africa, there is a tribe of the Dogon, living rather isolated from other tribes and nationalities. However, it became known in our time the Dogon knew the details not only of the structure of the Sirius star system, but also possessed knowledge that our science has yet to uncover. Ancient Egypt. One of the most revered gods of Egypt was the goddess Isis, symbolizing Sirius, and her husband, the god Osiris, symbolizing the Orion constellation. Wallace Budge cites passages from Egyptian texts that speak of the sacred emanations emitted by Sirius and Orion. Interestingly, the Dogons say the same thing. In their view, the seeds that impart life force to the world are emitted by the Sirius system. The heliacal rise of Sirius played such an important role for the Egyptians that the central corridor of their gigantic temples were oriented exactly towards the point where the star was expected to appear. Like the Dogon, the ancient Egyptians believed that the soul of the dead go to the Sirius system. Turkey. Göbekli Tepe is the oldest structure on our planet, which is located in the southeast of Turkey. The main temple of Göbekli Tepe is clearly oriented towards Sirius, and the colonnade of the temple stands in such a way that Sirius rises in its very center. Other structures were also dedicated to the rising of Sirius at different times of the year, and drawings carved in stone repeat the outlines of the constellations. The locals, as well as other cultures in this region, worshipped the star Sirius thousands of years later. Armenia. The most famous staging site in the Armenian highlands is the Metsamor archaeological site, where ancient inhabitants observed the rising Sirius early in the morning on the summer solstice in the rays of the rising sun. Zoroastrianism. In Zoroastrianism, one of the world's oldest religions, the name of the god Tistra, who personified Sirius among the ancient Iranians, comes from the old Indo-European term meaning three stars. And the name of the prophet Zarathustra is translated as Golden Sirius, Zara golden, and Tistra Sirius. Only this name is considered worthy of the prophet. There are the following lines in the Avesta. I will sacrifice unto Tistra the bright and glorious star, from Ahura Mazda has established as a lord and overseer above all stars, in the same way as he established Zarathustra above man. India. And in ancient Indian mythology, Sirius is referred to by the word Tishya, which means the divine arrow that smites the demon of drought. The thrice seven wandering rivers, Yai the mighty floods, the forest trees, the mountains, Agni to our aid, Krisano, Tishya, archers to our gathering place, and Rudra strong amid the Rudras we awoke. The Quran. Sirius is the only star whose name is mentioned in the Quran, and that he, Allah, is the Lord of Sirius. Al-Shira al-Yamaniya. This is what the Arabs call the brightest star in the sky in the Canis Major constellation. Russia. And in the Republic of Khakassia near the lake Shira, the Shirin plate was found on which the arrival of representatives from the Sirius system to Earth was depicted with solar signs. China. In China, Sirius is associated with the wolf or heavenly dog, Erlang's assistant in the fight against evil forces. Erlang in mythology acted as one of the water deities, the patron of dams that protect against floods, and a fighter with demons. In Chinese astronomy, the star Sirius was called Tianlan, heavenly wolf. Dagestan. The Laks, a Dagestani people, one of the indigenous peoples of the North Caucasus, call Sirius by the name of Turshi. Similar to the Zoroastrian Tistra, It is interesting that the lax call the Canis Major constellation with the star Sirius, Hami Turshi, where Hami means women. Doesn't that say about the ancient connection of the Turshi with the central female image of the Sumerian pantheon, Inanna, Ishtar, Tishtria? Iraq. Ishtar of Abil is often mentioned in the texts of New Assyrian times as a prophetess. The Assyrian kings sought her for advice before making important decisions. Unlike her hypostasis associated with the star Venus, Ishtar of Abil was identified with Sirius. Interestingly, the Mayans, Incas and Egyptians began counting annual time cycles between July 22nd and 27th. The new year was celebrated at the moment when the star Sirius rose in the morning sky at the same time as the sun. This is the time when the Earth has two visible suns in the sky. One sun is golden, and the other was red in ancient times, and now it is white shimmering blue. This star combination celebrates the long-term connection between the sun and the stars of the Sirius system. Mohenjo-Daro. Although the ritual calendar of Mohenjo-Daro has not yet been deciphered, it is not difficult to see the symbolism of certain red star, at the rise of which offerings are made. Ancient Mesopotamia. In Sumerian Akkadian astronomy, the star Sirius was associated with the god Ninurta and was called Arrow, fiery red as copper, thanks to which Ninurta defeats the dragon Asaga. You Arrow Ninurta, the first of the great gods, which is brighter than all the stars in the bright sky. Utaulu, peerless in battle, mighty Air, favorite of the father of the gods, Nunamnir, a true ploughman, gathering barley in heaps, the guardian of Nisaba, the savior of all living souls, I, so-and-so, son of so-and-so, whose god is so-and-so, whose goddess is so-and-so. I turned to you, I look at your face, because you know how to do good. New Zealand and Australia. The indigenous people of New Zealand, the Maori, believed that when they saw Sirius, they saw the Rehua, the wisest being in the universe, living in the 10th highest heaven. And the Australians called Sirius the heavenly boundary, and also the eagle. Mongolia. In the myths of Mongol-speaking peoples, the image of Huhede Mergan is associated with Sirius and Orion constellation. Huhede Mergan, the prototype of Gesa, is represented by the mighty rider deity on 9 grey-winged horses, shaking the universe with thunder and incinerating enemies of the human race with lightning, the patron saint of epic heroes fighting on Earth with forces of evil and other monsters. In the very epithet Huhede, the concept of the sky is encoded, which also has the color symbolism of Huh, blue, heavenly. The second part of the name Mergan means a sharpshooter, wise, gifted. Azerbaijan. In Azerbaijan mythology, Sirius or Simurgh and Nowruz were noted by the 8-pointed star. Sirius was luminary organizing the great space and time, the star of all travelers. The question arises, why did ancient people feel a deep and mysterious connection with this star for thousands of years?